Hello, I'm Dr. Helen Crompton, and in this short screencast I'm going to talk to you about Tpack. Tpack stands for Technological, Pedagogical and Content Knowledge. Now this is what the framework looks like. Now this framework, when you first see it, it looks kind of complicated and you have all sorts of arrows going off with words, but once you finish this short screencast, hopefully this will be all clear. Now this framework, basically made by Mistro and Kohler, was used to describe how to integrate technology effectively in K-12 curriculum. So that's really important for this course, and you're going to be using it throughout for your assignments, so pay particular attention to this screencast. Now the fun way to think about this is, think about that circle, the bluey purple circle, as the teacher's head, and you've just opened up and are having a look in at the brain. So you're looking down at the brain and seeing what knowledge they have there. And there's three areas of knowledge that a teacher should have. The first one is content knowledge, and can you see what I've done there? I've just dragged one of those knowledges, one of those circles down out of the main Venn diagram at the top. So content knowledge. Content knowledge is the knowledge of the subject that you're teaching. So imagine you're a mathematics teacher. Your content knowledge will be of mathematics. You'll know your stuff in mathematics. And it says there to understand the subject content, which includes the scope and sequence within that content area. So in mathematics, you will know what the student's coming up to you with and what they're going to go on once they've finished in your class. So imagine if you're teaching 5th grade, what they'll learn in 4th grade and come to you with, and what they'll go to 6th grade with. So content area is whatever your subject, social studies, science, whatever subject that you have. Now, knowing and teaching, as it says at the bottom there, is a different thing. You can know but not always teach. What I mean by that is you probably can think of some examples from your own experiences where someone knows something really, really well, but they can't get it across to somebody else. That's because they're missing this key bit that teachers have, and it's pedagogical knowledge. Pedagogy is actually Greek, meaning to lead the child. What it is it's how you teach. It's the style, it's how you get across the knowledge to the student. So imagine it could be group work, it could be individual work, it could be field work, it could be talking to a partner, it could be worksheets. There's lots of different ways to get things across to people. So that is the pedagogical knowledge. So teachers have both of those, and when they use them effectively, they come together and they work effectively together. So imagine a science teacher for the content knowledge, and they have to learn about ponds and creatures and plants next to a pond. So imagine that as the content knowledge. So they've got to get across that to students. Now the pedagogical knowledge you might know from your own experience in school or how you do it, but a great way perhaps to teach a student about pond life, whether it's animals and plants, is to actually go on a field trip to a pond to see these things. So that's the pedagogical knowledge. So perhaps I'd take a class on a field trip and we'd go and look and find out what species were there and see what plant life was there and actually analyse that. Now, that's those two working effectively together. Okay, I want to go on to the last one here. This is very important for this class as well. So this is technological knowledge, and as it says there, to have knowledge about standard technologies such as books and chalkboards, as well as advanced technologies such as the internet. Now that includes all those things. When we're talking about technology in class, we're talking about digital technologies. So we're talking about technologies that are powered somehow by batteries or the electricity. So think of it that way. But you'll also have to think as a teacher what other things, non-technological things, you're going to use as well. But now, if you're a person that is not keen on technology, now some people are not keen on technology, they're wondering, what's the purpose of it? That's a very good question to ask. And you have to know about technology to decide whether it's going to be effective or it's not going to be effective. So you need to learn about it to make decisions about whether to use it in your classroom. And sometimes a person that's got really good technological knowledge will not choose to use technology in certain areas because they know that's not the best way to do it, that other ways are better. But you have to have the technological knowledge to make those decisions. So let's go back to the whole picture again. So content knowledge, let's go back to my example, the pond, and going on field trips to the pond. People with really good technological knowledge might think, well, to push that on even further and have the students getting the most out of it, perhaps they'll have iPads and they'll take those in waterproof cases to the pond, and when they find a particular wildlife, they'll perhaps try and identify it through websites, or even take photographs and upload them to particular websites where experts can correspond with the students there and then in real time and say, well, that is a certain type of plant called whatever, or that's a creature called a whatever creature and it lives. So you get them a point that field trip can really be extended by using technology, but you've got to know how to use it and to use it effectively to make it work really nicely. Now Tpack, as you can see this pointing here to the very centre, and it's basically saying those three things are coming together to work effectively together. Now the context around the edge there is very important to all of this. So whatever your preference is for who you want to teach, the age of the students, when I was giving the example about pond life and things, maybe if you're a high school teacher, you were thinking biology. Maybe if you're a kindergarten teacher or looking to be a kindergarten teacher, you were thinking of the very basic pond life and taking students to look at ponds. You see, those things, although I was talking about the same thing, look very different at different age ranges. So what this is saying is, remember the content knowledge, remember the pedagogical and the technological and how they fit together, but pay real great attention throughout all of this to the context, the students that you're working with. Pay attention to the grade level, what's appropriate, and even to the likes of the students, their preferences. Try and tap into that whenever you can. But this is the framework you're going to be using for the whole of this course. And so when we're looking at technologies, remember, always first go with the content. What are you going to teach the students? Then think about the activities and how they perhaps use technology as well in those activities. And describe them, which will be the pedagogical knowledge. So hopefully that's all made sense. If you need to please perhaps watch this video again so you get a full idea of what this means, what Tpack means. So when you do the assignments for this class, you'll have a real good understanding. Okay, and have fun